holistic Christmas mystic is in the building. It's the holistic it's the holistic Grinch that stole Christmas, man. Yo, you feel me? It's the holistic Grinch that stole Christmas. How y'all feeling? We in here today, y'all. We in here today. Christmas, Merry Christmas. They calling me the Merry Christmas. They calling me the Christmas mystic, yo. I don't know why. Somebody texted me and said, "Yo, man, you got some sea. I heard you was the Christmas mystic around here. You got some sea moss?" Yo, I was crying. I was crying, man. I couldn't believe that was even said right. I was like, "Yo, man, what is going on right now?" You got to be on that wavelength to really understand what was going on with that joke though. A lot of people didn't even get it. I had ran it by a couple of people. They was like, "What?" That just showed me a lot. Anyway, I really be creating my own world, y'all. You know what I'm saying? The inner world. The inner world is what we are working on. Because you know what I'm saying, that's what manifests on the outside. That's what we build on the inside is what we're gonna see on the outside. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're here to talk about tonight. Today is wellness. So everybody, I see some people is tuned in. So we can go ahead and get it started. You are now tuned in with the holistic Christmas mystic. And tonight we are talking about wellness, getting down to what exactly is wellness and how we can improve our wellness, how wealthy we are, wellness, healthy, heal. You know what I'm saying? So when we dealing with health, we're dealing with the bodily functions. You know what I'm saying? The functioning of the organs, the proper functioning of the organs when you're dealing with health. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with health, you could go and get an assessment on your health right now from your doctor, and your doctor could tell you you're completely healthy, but you're still using deodorant with aluminum in it. You're still eating carcinogens and bioengineering ingredients, and you still have uric acid build up in your body. You're still dealing with eczema and autoimmune diseases, still dealing with sinuses, but your doctor tell you that you're perfectly healthy. That's why we're gonna talk about wellness today. Key word in healthy is the heal. You want to heal the organs. You want to heal the body. In order to do that, you have to look at your life as a unfolding of art. It is a masterpiece in movement in the making that you're trying to master. You're trying to make it into a masterpiece. Like your life in existence is like a piece of art that is coming into unfoldment as you go on in motion with your existence. You're trying to master that piece of art. You're trying to master that canvas that you have pulling along with you. And then, so when you're dealing with, so we're talking about wellness. We're talking about the the health of your overall existence. We're talking about the functioning of your overall existence, the healing of your overall existence. Wellness encompasses your existence as a whole. When we're talking about well-being, whole is key in well-being because if you have good well-being, this means that you are whole. So, what is wellness? Wellness is, in brief terms, the healing and the monitoring of your overall existence walking through life. Wellness, health is dealing with the healing of bodily functions. Wellness is dealing with the healing of your existence as a whole. Okay, so what do we mean by that? What do we mean by the healing of your existence as a whole? Your whole existence. All right, so We're gonna go through some elements of wellness so we can break this down. But before I do, I want to encourage y'all to go to the link in my bio and sign up for the Art of Wellness group. The Art of Wellness group discussions that I'm doing every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Go ahead and go in that link and just sign up. It's totally free. We're gonna have discussions like this so we can clarify some things and live better holistic lifestyles so we can be here for our families and create generational health and protect the priceless assets of life. Your mind is your most valuable tool, and your health is your most valuable asset, right? So look, let's talk about emotional. We're gonna go through the elements of wellness. So now that we established that wellness is the functioning or the healing of your existence as a whole. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about emotional, we're talking about financial, we're talking about social, we're talking about spiritual, we're talking about intellectual, we're talking about environmental, and we're talking about physical. So this overall encompasses your wellness, your well-being as a whole, moving forward. So if you have good well-being, as we said before, you are whole. You know what I'm saying? And understanding how you become whole is breaking down the elements of wellness and how you are monitoring and treating each element like a piece of art that you're working on and focusing on and trying to get the best master, trying to master each time you create, each time you're unlocking different uh creations of yourself, or you got this, you got to put the right piece or put the right um word in the poem to get the right pattern, the right rhythm. It's the same thing with your well-being. You want to get the right flow, you want to get the right, you want to get the right direction. You want to capture that energy in the moment so you can create this masterpiece in motion in your existence. And that's how you become whole within your wellness journey. So when we're dealing with wellness, we're dealing with your whole existence. So the first element I want to deal with, I want to talk about, is emotional. And your emotional wellness is a key element. And like I was saying before, look at it like you're a piece of art, like fine art. Think about your life as being an unfoldment of art. So the first piece we're gonna be working on is emotional. So emotional wellness is, you're coping with life and creating good relationships with others along as well as with yourself. But when we're talking about emotional balance, we're talking about the energy that runs through the body and neurochemical responses in the body when we're talking about emotion. But the different emotions, to simplify it, that we go through, we like anger, rage, frustration, guilt, pain, trauma, depression, these types of emotions, and all of the all emotions that we go through. We don't. The key is to not to become certain emotions. We don't want to become the emotion. We want to experience the emotion, see the emotion, feel the emotion, but not become the emotion. Because once you become the emotion, that means that you're not able to control your reactivity that comes out of the physical manifestation of you feeling it first within your body. So your emotional wellness, that's why I always say your emotional wellness is, there is no emotional ascension without spiritual. There's no spiritual ascension without emotional ascension, right? Because first we have to learn how to control our reactivity and not let others control it for us, and becoming we can't be a slave to somebody else's thoughts, somebody else's statements, somebody else's. If somebody has control over you by what they say to you, or and how you react to them, and you can't control your reactivity, and you can't seem to get a hold of yourself and keep yourself composed, then that means you have fell short of your emotional wellness. Not saying that we are perfect, but we can control our reactivity to those that seem to uh, trigger us, or things that seem to trigger us. The things that seem to trigger us would be like gaslighting, when somebody's gaslighting you. But once you can conquer your triggers, you can you can paint this masterpiece of fine art through the element of emotional wellness by way of your existence, because you can say, hey, look, I know you disrespected me, but I respect me. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna not let you control the way that I react to your inner hurt. because your inner hurt is being manifested through you trying to hurt me. See, this is how you create your own reality moving forward when we dealing with wellness, because once you start taking control in totality of what it is that you're creating along your wellness journey, what you're creating on this canvas of art, this canvas of think about your life and wellness as a canvas of art, and you're painting it. So you're in control of that. If somebody comes interrupting your piece, and you don't lose concentration. Stay concentrated on the art that you're creating within self. So like you like, oh, okay, you need something. Oh, you think I'm not doing a good job? Okay, I appreciate that. I'm back to work. I think, but you're doing a great job. You know what I'm saying? I'm part and self. I'm a work in progress on my road to success. Letting go of the ego, understanding that hurt people. It's never personal. It's always spiritual, yo. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was telling y'all last time I spoke. I've been real focused on reacting kindly and not always trying to be right. I don't have to be right. My more focus is to be kind, and I'm been working on this very diligently because I honestly feel that this could be a real solution for the world. It could be a solution for humanity to be able for us to be able to weaponize love and be able to use love to our advantage of living on this planet Earth to make it a better Earth and to ascend spiritually. But first, we have to master our emotions. We have to master our emotions. Ah man, I'm telling you, and it goes into the feeling like of the neuroendocrine and chemical neurochemical activity that goes into the body, like oxytocin. That's the feeling of love, and then you got endorphins. Your adrenaline gets to pumping. This causes you to react in certain ways. So emotions are very important moving forward in your wellness and to be able to monitor them. So you're not a slave to anybody that holds triggers to you, that tries to gaslight you through different ways of bringing up things that you might have shared with them that were private. Try to use them against you, kick you while you're down. There's a lot of the times where a lot of the triggers that I know men deal with is we'll share some of our most deep emotions with somebody, and then that person will bring it up in front of somebody or bring it up just to us and throw it back in our face like I didn't just share that with you, like I'm working on that, man. Now you're trying to use it against me. So that caused a reactivity of, oh, like we get infuriated because we thought we could trust them. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother story of that manifesting into anger, because and a lot of anger comes from fear. And we were afraid to express how we really felt. And when we did express how we really felt, it got thrown back into our face, and then we reacted with anger. So that's a lot of the times, a lot of anger comes from fear. But on an emotional ascension, that is a very interesting thing to walk in your spiritual journey and understand that controlling your reactivity moving forward in your spirituality is going to determine how close that you get to God. Peace to the family. Peace, Lord. Salute the innocence, man. Appreciate you tuning in, man. We're just having a little fun with wellness and talking about what it is and how it is just a healing of your existence as a whole. You know what I'm saying? I'm going over emotional and spiritual ascension, man, and just how that neurochemical response in your body causes certain reactivity. But when we master it, this is when it happens. This is when you begin to transform spiritually. You know what I'm saying? Can't no church, mosque, or temple do that for you. Can't no scripture do that for you. You have to go within and do that for yourself. So the next element of wellness that I want to talk about in our well-being is what's a good one? Let me see. What we dealing with tonight? I ain't gonna keep y'all long tonight. Environmental. Environmental wellness. Mind you, I want y'all to think about wellness as a art. It's an unfoldment of art. Think about your existence moving forward in life as a piece of art that you're piecing together, that you're putting together, and you're concentrating on to make it a masterpiece, right? So Your environmental wellness. Who are you around that's supporting your well-being? Who are you around? What's the company you're keeping? Y'all know I know the phrase, the company that you keep and the environment that you're creating. Now, the interesting thing about environmental wellness is you can you can ultimately create your own reality by way of the environment that you keep for yourself. However, a lot of people don't want to remain in the environment that it requires to spiritually ascend, which is solitude. Now, anybody that's been locked up, and you are looking in the spiritual books, a lot of the prophets and apostles stayed locked up, but this is where they found solitude and silence their mind, and they was able to lock in to the super consciousness and what God really wanted them to do. Now today we look and we run for distractions. Even if you ain't looking for a distraction, it's right in front of your face. So the spirit, it's even harder now for us to get in, for us to tap in into the environmental spaces that we need to be able to grow. So for instance, it's this thing called companion planting. So companion planting is when you take two crops and you plant them together because they grow good together, because they go good together. So you get, so for instance, like tomato and basil. Tomato and basil grow really well together. So you plant them together because you get better growth, you get less disease, fewer pests, and you get in the soil nutrients, which is the foundation. So the environment that you're putting in, okay, the soil nutrients, and you get, and the basil ultimately helps you get better, the tomatoes to get better flavor. So you add some flavor in there, right, with the environmental, with a better environment. So in companion planting, what happens is the basil keeps the pest away. The basil brings more nutrients to the soil. The basil actually, not only does it keep the good pests away from the tomatoes and get the flavor well, it also attracts the insects that's needed to pollinate and keep the growth in the soil fertile, like bees, you know what I'm saying? And it also, the basil keeps mites away off of the crop, so the tomato can grow the way it should. They don't compete for the soil. They don't compete. They actually work together, because some crops you can put together and they'll compete for the nutrients in the soil, but the basil actually enhances the environment. It enhances the growth environment so that the tomato can grow and get the best flavor and be its best self. And these are the environments that I feel like that's a good analogy for us to, the environments that we're looking for is for us to get the best growth out of, to be the best version of ourselves. And another interesting thing about that is, look at, is the foundation. What is the foundation of planting? It's the soil. So if they're not, if the foundation is good, because that's where the roots is the foundation. The roots are getting nutrients from the soil. If they're not competing with the nutrients in the soil, then that means that the crop is going to be, salute, Matt. The crop is going to be well kept, less disease. It's going to be not only growing correctly, but it's going to be have the most nutritional value, because the basil is really making the soil very fertile. So this is important with what we're talking about, the environment, because if you have a strong foundation built on solid principles, just like in the analogy with the tomato and the basil. The basil is helping the foundation for them both to grow. Not only is it helping the foundation, it's protecting it from insects, from mites that's going to stop the growth. So the environment with companion planting that you're putting yourself in is either going to protect you or harm you. It's either going to add to your foundation or take away. It's either going to give you the proper nutrients that you need or not. So the environment that you create for yourself is going to determine a lot with your environmental wellness. Now, like I said initially, the first step to the of environment people don't like is the solitude environment. The solitude environment is what people have the most trouble with, because the silent mind, you're sitting with your thoughts and you have a lot of mental chatter, and the meditation that you go through by yourself, a lot of people can't handle it, which is why the self-discovery journey is a very it's a very intense journey, because you have to go through a lot of being recluse and being in solitude, being by yourself, to be able to understand yourself better, so you can know how to create that environment moving forward. So, and then so when you're creating this environment, another interesting thing about tomato and basil is that if you plant them close together, unlike other plants, unlike other plants, they won't fight amongst each other. The closer you plant them together, the better the flavor in the tomato. You know what I'm saying? So what is that telling us about our environment? Well, we already know from epigenetics that we ultimately can change our genetics or upgrade our DNA by way of the environment that we put ourselves in. We can override hereditary things that might be in our family by way of changing in our environment, our eating habits, and our way of life and existence, which is why we're talking about wellness. So through epigenetics, we already know that we can see past or go past any type of illness that we have in our genealogy. We can surpass that. They already proved that. So this is why environment is so important when we're dealing with wellness. And mind you, think, like I said initially, think about it like an art. Your life is a art. It's a masterpiece that you're trying to create. A masterpiece. Your life is an unfoldment of art that you're trying to master, to create this masterpiece. So you're piecing this together piece by piece. And as you go along, you're finding different influences or inspirations to put towards that art, your art of life, to put towards that masterpiece, to master it, to get it to the point to where, like, okay, wow, my unfoldment is really fine art. My existence is fine art, because I'm doing this to my environment. I'm creating a world within itself. My inner world is telling me what to create in my outer world, so I can keep myself on a good foundation, so I can grow, so I can blossom, so I can have the best flavor. You know what I'm saying? So I can keep the pests away, so I can keep those away that don't serve me any good on this journey. No, no, I'm on my healing and wellness journey. So I'm not only am I keeping the pests away with the basil, I'm also attracting the insects or the people or the relationships or the resources that I need to me by creating this environment. It's a very interesting thing dealing with companion planting. Botany is always amazing to me, but plants reveal so much truth to us. So I wanted to share that with y'all. I feel like that was like very powerful. I was thinking about that earlier. So, all right, on to the next one. We dealing with wellness, dealing with all the elements of wellness. For those that are late coming on, wellness is health is the dealing of the bodily functions, the bodily organs, and wellness is the healing of your existence as a whole, your whole well-being, your whole. If you have good well-being, that means you're a whole person. So being a whole person comes with mastering the art of your wellness and creating this masterpiece of unfolding art in your existence. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Oh wow. Okay, so I would go to. Let's talk about financial. I talk about financial. I had a financial wellness discussion at the Durham Bulls um, bottling company. Shout out to Met. She booked me for that to speak on financial wellness. Now, finances is very interesting. Finances could be an investment. Uh, income, different assets, things of that nature. We're focusing on the prices, assets of life. We're talking about financial wellness and how what type of effect does money have on you? You know what I'm saying? You got to ask yourself, what type of effect does money have on you when you're dealing with financial wellness? Because if money is controlling, listen, listen now, if money is controlling your emotional and environmental wellness, then we might have a problem. We might have a problem because you have to. when we're dealing with the emotions around money and how much money you have and how much money you want to make, we have to we seem to need to shift our focus around how can I make more money to how can I earn more money by acquiring more skill sets. Because yes, like I said before, in financial wellness, your finances are a reflection of you, but it doesn't have to define who you are. So your wellness behind finance is ultimately your relationship and your thoughts around money. So if you're not making a lot of money, you have to look within you. So if you look within you, if we well, I wouldn't say a lot of money, but if you're not making the money that you want to make, if you're not looking making the money, or if you're not earning the money that you would like to earn, that means that you have to look at the skill sets that you have acquired to be able to turn yourself into an asset to be able to earn money. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just sit and say that you're trying to manifest money when in all actuality, you're not who you are, who you need to be to manifest the money. If you want $1 million, you first must have to become $1 million. You know what I'm saying? You know, people said, I feel like $1 million. Yeah, because first it's the feeling. First, you have to feel as if you are $1 million before you can obtain it. You know, so the focus is to focus on the priceless assets of life. Imagine living a life where you're doing all of these things outside of yourself, um, but inside you're miserable. Imagine living a life where you're buying all these nice things and you're acquiring all these materialistic gains, but inside you're rotten. Can you imagine? You imagine just to focus on the prices, on the priceless assets of life. As Bob Marley had saying, he said, "How you got all that money, but you're still so poor." And that's very profound because we have to think about what our thoughts, my feeling or thoughts about myself, are they defined by the value of a dollar, or is my perception around money, me adding value to myself, the one who earns money, because they make money. You don't make money, you earn it. They make money they print money in the wherever they print it at, in Washington, wherever they print it at. That's who make the money. You create the energy around you being the money and attracting it to you. But first, you have to add skill sets to yourself and first, you have to understand the priceless assets of yourself to be able to obtain money. This is why I asked, like, what effect does money have on you? Because if money has an effect on you to make you, oh, you feel down and depressed when you don't have money, how are you gonna lift yourself up to be able to acquire the skills to go earn you some money? You have to understand that you are the money. You are the bag. You have to become the person or the asset that the bag chases, and you don't have to chase the bag. People say they chasing the bag. Good for you, because the bag chases me. Why? Because I'm constantly adding value to myself. As an entrepreneur, our fund, it fluctuates. It is a very fluctuating way of income. However, once you find that consistency in mastering what it is that you do, once you find that consistency in mastering it is what it is that you do, that's when you become an asset, and then that's when you get the consistency with the income that it is that you're seeking. But first, you have to seek within to get without. That's why Kanye said what he said: the things we buy to cover up what's inside. You got to deal with inside first. Like I was saying, you know, the inner communication has to be on point. Because how you gonna properly communicate anything to your customer, client, or at work if your inner communication is not on point, especially as an entrepreneur. You got to think about that when you're dealing with financial wellness. Is if you can't properly talk to yourself, how you probably gonna talk to a potential client, lead, or service? There's no way that you're gonna be able to do that. So it's very important when we're dealing with financial wellness that we're looking within to improve ourselves within to go get the bag. Better yet, for the bag to come get us, because the more you add value to you become a high value servicer. The more you go through your exploration stage of a skill, go through your establishment stage as a skill, and get to your mastery stage of a skill, you create an overflow of income because you're becoming what it is that you're trying to manifest. You're trying to manifest income. You're trying to manifest money. You're trying to make more salary. So that means that you have to make more of yourself. You have to make more of your inner self. The self-talk is the wealth talk. All right. And you have, and that's what I want to go to occupational after that, because you don't want to be doing something that you don't love to do for money. And if you do, that's fine. A lot of people do what they don't love to do for money, but you need to be looking for a path outside of that, because your cortisol levels are going to get sky high because you're going to be stressed because you're doing something that makes you so unhappy, and you're trying to find internal happiness, but you're going to a job every day that don't care nothing about you, when you know that you are the job, and you can create a job, or you can find another job that brings you happiness, and then when you bring in happiness, you can bring in more income than you ever have ever in your life. You could bring in more income than you ever have ever in your life. So when we dealing with financial wellness, we always have to look at the priceless assets of life. The irony of that, right? You want the bag, you got to get the bag to chase you before you chase it. That's why this is what we're talking about. You got to ask yourself this question: what's my most valuable skill? What effect does money have on me? And also, um, what do I find myself talking about the most amongst my peers? Oh man, I'm telling you, man, financial wellness is real. But okay, so let's go to the next. I don't want. I could stay all day on financial wellness. That's a very good topic, because if we can maintain an emotional balance while going through our finances, we can think clearly to be able to attract the money, and understand that by attracting the money, um, you're understanding that we're not making it. We're attracting the money by becoming an asset ourselves. How do you become an asset of yourself? You look at the priceless assets of life. You look at the priceless attributes of yourself. Master those. Get a good relationship with those. Get a good relationship with yourself, so you can have a good relationship with money. So you have a better relationship with money, and that's basically understanding that you are the money. So occupational, you know what I'm saying? So personal satisfaction and enrichment in one's work, like I was bringing up before. So if you had a job that you don't really that you don't really enjoy, when you know, you start adding value to you, so you start understanding that you are the job. You can create the job. Not only can you create the job, you can create jobs for others. But this takes a lot. Listen, when you're at a job and you know that you're just at the job for now to pay bills, that's fine. We all been through that. But for longevity and long term, we know that's not where we want to stay. So why not study the job, its system, see how the job works, its system. So like, okay, like, all right, well, I want to get in entrepreneurship. Okay, if you want to get in entrepreneurship, you at a job that you don't like, dealing with occupational wellness, which is an element of wellness, then that means that you need to be looking at the system that job uses to create your own, or looking at that system that job uses, so the next job that you go to, you don't fall into the same victim. You don't fall into the same situation. So occupational wellness has a lot to do with your inner happiness and inner peace, because if you a lot of us spend most of our day at what we call work. So if you're spending most of your time there but you're not happy there, you have to make some life-changing decisions. Because when you're building a business, you're not just building a business, you're building a life. When you're looking for a job and you have a career, you're not just looking for a job or have a career, you're looking for a life and having a life. This is what it is ultimately. Yes, it's going to be stressful either way, entrepreneurship or a job, but you have to find a medium in what makes you happy. Now, if you're at a job in my advisory that doesn't make you happy, occupational, when we're dealing with wellness, I would say take those skills that you're learning from that job and go use them somewhere else, whether it's an entrepreneur's venture or another job. Take those skills, that experience. That's the most valuable thing that you got at the job when we're dealing with occupational wellness, is the experience. Is the experience and skills that you learn from that job to go get you another job that brings you more happiness and internal peace, and you're okay with. That's the key with occupational wellness. So we all been there when it comes to stressful jobs. However, what are you learning at that job? What's the most valuable thing that you're learning at that job? What's the most valuable skill you're learning at that job? You take that over into another field, another company, another entrepreneur or business venture, and you use those skills to get you to where you need to be. And you use those skills so you can be internally happy and not doing something that's making you miserable every day. Because that's not, like we said before, it's going to bring your stress levels up. It's going to drive your adrenals crazy. Your cortisol going to be up. When your cortisol hormones is up, that means your immune system is shutting down. You don't want that. You don't want to be sick. You don't want to be depressed. You don't want to have anxiety, trauma, and all these things, guilt, misery, shame, all the low frequency emotions that we were talking about with emotional wellness. So let's go to the next one. Let's do, all right, we'll do spiritual next time. I'm gonna do spiritual real quick. Do spiritual real quick. So the spiritual element of wellness. Spiritual element of wellness is very important, like we talked about first with the emotional. There's no spiritual ascension without emotional ascension. So on the spiritual level, when we're talking about wellness, what type of relationship do you have on your inner dialogue, expanding your sense of purpose and living a purposeful life? So a lot of people, when you say spirituality, they automatically thinking about something outside of their self. When you're dealing with the element of wellness and being whole and healing your existence as a whole, because that's what wellness is, and we're talking about spirituality, we're talking about your interpersonal communication and relationship with yourself. The self talk is the wealth talk. So if your inner dialogue is not on point with yourself, that means that you're not only is you're emotionally unbalanced, but your spirituality is unbalanced because it first starts with you with any praise, even if you're giving praise outside of you. So the inner dialogue, the subconscious mind work that you're doing in your spirituality, sitting with yourself, sitting with your thoughts, being able to control your thoughts and being able to control your emotions. That's one of the signs that you're emotionally ascending is when you're able to control your reactivity. When you're able to control your reactivity, that's a clear sign that you're going to a higher place and you're dwelling in your higher self. A lot of the times we're looking to ourself, but we're not looking within ourselves. Let me say that again. We're looking to ourselves, but we're not looking within ourselves. Sometimes we can be codependent on things rather than doing the work that we need. That's why you can see people that go to the church, mosque, or temple, and it's just like a motion. It's just like they're going through the motions of religion. Nothing's really changing. No work is really being done. They're still basically the same person, but they're going to these, they're going through the motions mostly every day. So that's because they're not doing the inner work. They're not really on the true inward path to go within themselves to see what their relationship really is like with God. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be brave to get you gotta be a brave individual to really get your spiritual element of wellness correctly because you have to go within yourself and do some work that might be holding you back. You could be stuck in an emotional trauma that you suffered as a kid and you trying to get over a spiritual hurdle, but you can't because you stuck somewhere in the past and you're looking at the now through the eyes of the past. First, you got to get over that hurdle to be able to overcome that spiritual obstacle in your life. You know what I'm saying? So, what we said initially, looking at a foldment of life like a work of art, looking at life like it's art. So, your existence is an unfolding of art, but we're making it a masterpiece by looking into our wellness and of our existence and like painting. We're painting on the canvas, like, okay, let me put this here, and maybe if I touch my financial wellness up here, if I get my environment together right here, I can, so I can properly grow, and then right here, if I get my emotions together, I might be able to control my reactivity and my anger and I'm not triggered. Okay, so now I'm getting my painting right. I'm getting the canvas together. It's like fine art. Okay, I'm creating this masterpiece now. I see it. It's like it's in motion. I can picture it. You know what I'm saying? So think about your life as a piece of art that you're trying to master, that you're trying to piece together on the canvas to come to and then you're pulling out inspiration from yourself. You're pulling out these things that you're learning of yourself. You're something, an idea that you had, and you're adding that, and you're seeing how this works with this piece, and you're putting that color there and this shape here, and you're making all the proper lines and details to each movement. That's kind of like what we're doing with the elements of wellness. So I'm gonna definitely. So next week I'm gonna come back to this, come back to what wellness is and the healing of the whole of existence. And I appreciate y'all locking in with me. I appreciate y'all being here and us going over some things with each other. Don't forget to go to the link in my bio and sign up for the Art of Wellness group meetings on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Um, I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all go to my website, www.mysupremewellbeing.com, and look at check out my products. I do have a sale going on right now on sea moss, and I also have a sale going on my sea moss soap, no chemicals. Y'all make sure y'all tap into that and my new tea blend, Tea of Life blend. And if anybody's sick, please hit me up. I'm doing custom elderberry serve. I got so much elderberry. I got so much elderberry, man. It don't make no sense. Got custom. So if y'all dealing with anybody with any sickness, any colds, flu been going around, all of that, respiratory infections, it's been a bug going around. Y'all make sure y'all get with me. I can help you out a lot with preventative medicine and herbal treatment. Um, Thanks for rocking with the Christmas Mystic, the holistic Christmas Mystic. Peace and wellness to the family, y'all.